Did you inherit a home in Virginia? See, this video is about the probate sales process that most families are getting wrong. See, you may have said yes to becoming the executor of the estate. Because guys, guess what? You love your family. And now you're standing inside of a house full of 40 years worth of somebody's life. Fielding opinions from siblings and other family members who all want something different. Trying to figure out what a probate filing even is while your own life is still running full speed in the background. Or maybe your loved one hasn't passed away. They're very much alive. Maybe, she had a stroke. Maybe your loved one had a stroke and is in the memory care unit now. So they're safe, but while the house that she lived in for the last 30 years is sitting empty, the bills are coming month after month, and somebody has to figure out what happens to her life so she can afford to stay where she needs to be. Either way, a person in your situation, the questions are the same. Where do you even start? Who do you call first? What do you do with all of their belongings? How do you hold the family together through this? And how do you do any of it while still showing up for your own life and not absolutely losing your mind? See, friends, that's the real weight of a probate situation. It's not just about the paperwork, but the people, the peace, and the decisions that have to be made in the middle of a season that nobody planned for. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sonali Hutson, and I help self-employed Christians in Henrico County coordinate buying and selling simultaneously without the stress, chaos, or homelessness to help them upgrade their home and lifestyle using my Home Ownership God's Way blueprint. And y'all, if this is your first time here, why don't you just subscribe and stay a while, because I bring you real estate in a real way every single week. Now, every day, people just like you reach out to me to help them navigate an inherited property or a probate situation in Virginia. And I love having these conversations because every family's story is different and every single person deserves to be handled with care. So if you're in the middle of a sticky probate situation right now, you can reach out to me at 757-837-0096, or you can comment below and I'll reach out to you. I love to connect and help you navigate it. So let's get into it, friends. The first questions that most families ask is whether the property even has to go through probate. And the answer is not always yes. It all comes down to how the deed is set up. If your loved ones own the home together and the deed includes survivorship language, meaning when one owner dies, the other automatically becomes the full owner, the property transfers directly to the surviving spouse with no court process required. Now, most married couples in Virginia own their home this way without even realizing it. But let's say the home was placed inside of a living trust while your loved one was still alive. Probate's not going to be required there most of the time either. The trust already has instructions for what happens to the property, and the family can move forward without the court. Believe it or not, Virginia also allows your loved one to name a beneficiary directly on the deed itself while they're alive, so that when they pass, the property transfers straight to that person, the same way a life insurance beneficiary works. There's no court, there's really no waiting period, and most importantly, there's no probate. But friends, probate is required when the property was owned solely in one person's name, or when multiple people own shares of the property and those shares don't automatically transfer to the others when one owner dies. In those cases, the court has to be involved before anything can be sold or transferred. So before you make any decisions, pull that deed. That one document, the deed, is going to tell you everything about what the process you are actually in. If you're not sure what you're looking at, then guys, just bring it to me and we'll figure it out together before you take another step forward. When probate is required, the court has to officially appoint you as the executor before you can do anything with the property. And I mean anything. There's a legal document that you have to receive first that gives you the authority to act on behalf of the estate. And until that document is in your hands, you can't sign a listing agreement. You can't accept an offer, and the house is not going anywhere, no matter how ready your family is to move forward with getting it sold. Now look, I don't want you guys to get caught off guard by this next part, because nobody's gonna tell you this up front. Even after you are officially appointed as the executor, the will itself has to specifically say that you have permission to sell the property. Not just permission to handle the property in general, but permission specifically for you to sell the property. Now, if those words are not in the will, you have to go back to the court and get that approved separately before you can list the home for sale. I've heard stories of families losing weeks, sometimes months, paying utilities, paying homeowners insurance, paying a mortgage on a house that could have been getting ready to go on the market simply because they didn't know that there was an extra step that they needed to take until they ran into a brick wall. Now, for the families where your loved one is still alive but can no longer live on their own, they may have had a stroke or dementia or moved to an assisted living facility. Somebody in the family needs legal authority to make decisions about the house before anything can happen. That usually means a power of attorney that covers real estate or a guardianship through the court. If neither of those are options, or neither of those options are in place case yet, that's going to be your first call, because without it, nobody can sign anything, and the house is going to sit while the bills keep coming. A straightforward Virginia probate estate takes 6 to 12 months to work through in a lot of cases. More complicated situations, a contested will, multiple creditors, a property that needs significant work, it can run closer to 2 years. Every month that your house is sitting, the estate is responsible for the mortgage, the utilities, the insurance, the taxes, and whatever maintenance comes up. That's why moving efficiently inside the timeline matters, even when the timeline itself cannot be rushed. So guys, who's your first call? I'm gonna be honest, your first call should be to me. Not because a real estate agent or a realtor, which I am, outranks an attorney. You absolutely need an attorney involved, and I'm going to connect you with one that I've personally vetted and trust to handle this kind of work in Virginia. But your first conversation should be with someone who can look at the deed, who can help you understand what process you're actually in, who can help you assess the property and give you a clear picture of what it's worth and what the path forward looks like. That's the conversation that I have with families at the very beginning, before any decisions are made. And guess what, guys? It doesn't cost you a thing to have a conversation. Now, from there, I'm going to walk alongside you through everything that has to happen before the property is ready to sell. We're going to figure out what updates, if there are any updates or upgrades that actually make sense, versus which ones will cost you money that you don't need to spend. We're going to help you think through what to do with the belongings inside of the house and connect you with vendors that you need, so you're not trying to manage 10 different people at once while you're also grieving or being a caregiver for your loved one. My job in a probate situation is not to only be your realtor, but your project manager, your prayer partner, and sometimes, y'all, your therapist, okay? So you can focus on your family and trust that the property side is being handled professionally and with care. So, y'all, the emotional side of this is the part that you're not going to find in any legal guide. And it's honestly what derails more families than anything else in the process. Because when you're selling an inherited home, it's not the same as selling your own home. See, when you sell your own home, you made the decision, you're ready, and you're moving forward towards something. But when you're selling a home in probate, you're closing a chapter that did not get to close a lot of times on its own terms. And that's going to emotionally hit you differently. See, a lot of times you're walking through rooms where real life happens. You're making decisions about objects that carry 30, 40 years of memories. And you're doing all of that alongside people who are also grieving, who may not agree with you on the price of the home, the timeline, the price of the valuables. They may not even want to sell the house, much less figure out what they want to do with the dining room set, okay? So there's a lot of sibling conflicts that stalls more probate sales than any legal complications ever could. So what I understand for sure, and it almost actually never starts with the house. See, one sibling might want to sell quickly because the carrying costs are real and the pressure is mounting. Another sibling might want to wait because letting go of the house feels like letting go of the person. And a third sibling might think the property is worth more than the market supports and digs in and refuses to accept anything less. And suddenly the house that your parents spent their whole life building is sitting in the middle of a family disagreement that has every single thing to do with grief and very little to do with real estate, okay? Trust me, guys, I know this for sure. I sold a home that had 5 siblings, and let me tell you something. They did not agree on anything. I lie to you not. They even disagreed on how to spell the name, y'all. Seriously, there was a lot to navigate, but God's grace showed up and we got it done, and we made a win-win for everyone. So the families who've moved through a probate sale with the least damage are the ones who established early on who has the legal authority to make decisions, what timeline everyone is working toward, and who is responsible for what in the meantime. Those conversations are hard when everyone is grieving, and they are significantly harder 6 months later when resentment has had time to build because you've been paying all the bills in the house and now you got to get your money back, okay? So I worked with a client in Virginia Beach after her mother passed away, and she was still carrying the full weight of trying to finalize the estate while grieving. Y'all, she told me later that what she needed was not just someone who could sell her mom's house, but she needed someone who treated it like her mom mattered. Y'all, when I got to the house, it was completely full. It literally was left exactly as her mom left it before she passed away suddenly. It was no small feat, but our team put a plan together and we executed that thing flawlessly, okay? We sold her beautiful condo above asking price in 48 hours with multiple offers. And y'all, she still thanks me to this day for helping her say goodbye to all of the grief and all of the things that her mom left behind. See, I love real estate, but it's my ministry, and I want you to know that this is what I'm here for. Now, before we wrap up, I want to prepare you for something that you're probably not going to expect, and that is the investors. Because when investors found out that a house is going through probate, they're going to come out of the woodwork, honey. You're going to get letters in the mail, phone calls, people offering you a fast cash deal. And when you're already overwhelmed and you just want to get the house done and sold, it might sound a appealing, but a cash investor offer is almost always significantly below what the property would sell for on the open market. Some people are okay with losing out, but if you're not, before you sign anything, listen, call me first. We're gonna look at what the property is actually worth, and you can make an informed decision with real numbers in front of you, and they're gonna start calling, okay? Or you can just tell them to call your realtor, that's me of course, and I will get them all the way together. So 757-837-0096, give your girl a ring, okay? See, a lot of agents don't know this, but in Virginia, certain probate sales require the court to approve the offer before you can actually close. So even after a buyer says yes, and you say yes, and your contract is ratified, meaning all the terms have been agreed upon, the deal is still not done. There's still a court step in between. So if a buyer doesn't know that court approval is required, they can walk away from the deal, and then you're back to square one with the house that's been sitting even longer. So when I work with a probate listing, I make sure every buyer knows exactly what the timeline looks like before they ever make an offer. So the people who get under contract are the ones who are actually prepared to go the distance so that we can close. Does that make sense? Now, y'all, if you're a Christian walking through this season, I want you to know that God is in the details of this too. Even the hard conversations and the days when there is no clear path forward, God is in it. I've watched families come through this process closer than they were before it started. I've seen properties sell in 48 hours when the timing looked impossible. And I've watched people find real peace in the closing of a chapter that they were terrified to close because they had the right people walking alongside them and they did it with integrity. So friends, listen, you're not alone in this. We are going to go much deeper on specific pieces of this in future videos. I'm going to talk to you about the executor checklist, how to navigate sibling disagreements, how to prepare an inherited home for sale, and what to do when the property needs major work. Make sure you are subscribed so that you catch those videos when they drop. And hey, if you are thinking about your next move after this process wraps up, I made a video specifically about my signature process for buying and selling a home at the same time. I'm going to link the video down here in the description because that can give you the confidence that you need to make a major move in 2026. So if you're ready to talk through your specific situation, the property, the family, the timeline, what the next right step actually is, I'd be honored to walk you through it. You can text me at 757-837-0096, or you can click the link in the description and we can set up a time to chat. Friends, thank you so much for watching my channel. Your support absolutely means the world to me. Trust me, I love being able to bring you real estate in a real way every single week. So please don't forget to subscribe, give me a like, definitely comment below. And if you know someone who's navigating an inherited property or a probate sale in Virginia, definitely have them get in touch with me. I can be reached at 757-837-0096, or you can click the link in the description to set up a brief time to chat. I appreciate your support, and friends, I will see you in the next video. God bless you.